notes. Okay. Please bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, mine is your name. Blessed are those who seek you. Accept our humble thanks for this day and for all its blessings which you have given us. We ask that you guide and direct our town, its leaders, and our actions, that we may do what is right according to your will. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, real quick, for those at home and watching on the on YouTube, we have had some internet problems today. They were still working on them when I left earlier today, but hopefully they got those fixed and everything works as it should. You're fine. But if it doesn't, I'm forewarning you, we may have some problems with the internet. Okay, council. Going to our agenda, items 4A and B. I trust that everyone looked into their communications notes. A lot of good information in there, and not just for us, but also for our citizens if they look at those online. Item 5, open forum. And if I could at this time, I'll ask W.T. Sorrell to come forward. Is he here tonight? He's not. Okay, I'll take care of that later. Moving on to open forum, second part. Everyone that wanted to speak tonight, have you signed up? Going once, going twice? Gone. Okay. First on the list tonight is Mr. George Heaney. Sir. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is George F. Henney, Jr. I live at 145 Main Street West, apartment 4 here in Valdese. I have a suggestion for our town council meetings that I hope would not be very expensive, but might be appreciated by some. I made this suggestion after the last town council meeting to one of my former students, and he seemed positive about the suggestion. I think it's great if the town council meetings are being live streamed, and having 4 monitors, large monitors, to view presentations and let speakers know how much they have left is impressive. But I like to attend these meetings in person if I can, and usually I sit in the back. The only problem I have, however, is that when we have a soft-spoken speaker here at the microphone, or if they stand too far away from the microphone, I obviously don't have that problem, I can't hear what they have to say. And I want to hear what anyone has to say. With all the technological ability we have in today's day and age, I was hoping that something could be economically done to install a couple small speakers to our system so that everyone's words might be projected out loud and clear into the audience. I think that would be beneficial for many people, not just an old person like me. Thank you.
Don't go nowhere. Real quick, we don't usually respond during open forum, but your problem was brought to us after the last meeting, and we are working on purchasing some devices to help those that have trouble hearing to improve their hearing. So we're working on it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay, next up, Miss Karen Crusoe, ma'am. If you would, and I'll remind everybody, because I have to remind myself, pull the microphone down where you can speak.
I'm afraid I won't be quite as well to hear as him, but I'll do my best. Mayor and Council, I'm Karen Crusoe, 805 Michael Avenue. I'm going to tell you something that you probably don't hear too often, And that is that my husband and I have absolutely no problem with paying our Valdese property taxes. And there's a really good reason for that. We feel like that we get a lot of value for the services that our tax dollars fund. Because of this, I have concerns about the 41.5-cent tax rate. The majority of the council pledged when campaigning for the seats that you won. At the time, we were told this rate was revenue neutral and that there would be no cuts to any services or jobs. 10 cents seemed like a pretty drastic cut to me. I'm also concerned about going from a promise of no service cuts to no essential service cuts. If during your budget retreat you find that cuts are necessary, I urge you to uphold part of your campaign promise, which was a revenue neutral tax rate, even if that means the rate is higher than 41.5 cents. Please consider whatever the revenue neutral rate has to be with no cuts of services or jobs. Maybe that rate is 45 cents. Maybe that rate's 48.5 cents. Maybe it'll be 43 cents. But you will still have cut the tax rate while maintaining services and jobs. So my hope is that this time next year, I'll still be feeling good about paying my Valdese property taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Brooke Hefner.
Maybe. All right. Normally I don't read from these things, so just bear with me here because I'm not used to this. I'm Brooke Hefner. I live at 207 Forest Drive. With the newly elected town council starting their 5th month, I would like to take the time to share some words of positivity and gratitude instead of the negativities that have seemingly been constant at these meetings. After watching the past few town council meetings and reading numerous articles of the paper, I came to realize that some folks looking from afar must think things in our town is awful. However, I want to take the opportunity to share a few of the accomplishments in this short period of time and praise our town council for what they have achieved and are working towards. I, as well as many others, are extremely happy with the results so far. First and foremost, implementation of the live stream monthly meetings. Been a huge help. I'm traveling and I actually get to watch the town meetings a lot while traveling. Old Rock School repairs and maintenance issues. It was agreed upon designs and funding ready to start and finish this project, hopefully by festival time. The pool bubble, which is a huge, I know there's a lot of voice over that. It was agreed to finance and fix this project, hopefully by swim season in the fall. The reduced taxes back to revenue neutral versus the 2022 year. Appointed an interim town manager to help work through the budget year as well as hire a new police chief, and congratulations to Chief Sharp. Developed the facilities review committee to work on getting our public safety departments into a safe working environment, ASAP. A few notes from this committee. They received and reviewed 8 new proposals and interviewed 3 of these firms for potential hire. Looking to hear more on this tonight. Developed the efficiencies task force. This committee has met and agreed to set specific goals after the current budget is adopted to meet the town's needs for the coming year. The drug and homelessness task force. First meeting notes, working with law enforcement and to create more community watch groups. Working to pull local church groups together to help law enforcement with emergency resources for the homeless. I want to say a huge thank you for accomplishing all these tasks and more to come. So with that, I'm going to leave everyone with a few words that I hung in my high school locker and that I've kept close ever since, courtesy of Theodore Roosevelt. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Thank you, and I hope you guys take those words and keep doing the job you're doing.
Katie Stillwell.
Good evening. My name is Katie Gravel Stillwell, and I live at 3187 Montana View Drive in Valdese. I grew up in this town. My dad, Jack Gravel, was a longtime youth baseball coach here in Valdese. My mother, Renee Gravel, worked for many years at the Valdese Recreation Center. My family considers Valdese a special place to call home. I would like to speak about the issue of transparency. According to the dictionary, transparency is a situation in which business and financial activities are done in an open way without secrets so that people can trust that they are fair and honest. Transparency was a key buzzword through the WHO's campaign strategy. Accusations were made that the former town council was not always transparent, meaning that they were not open, fair, and honest. Many promises were made regarding to the WHO's honest and open intentions. However, in just the few months since he has taken office, Councilman Harvey has been outed as being the opposite of transparent. He has sent emails from private accounts thinking they would not be a part of the public domain. He has hand-delivered messages to the town hall thinking these messages would also remain private. And most recently, he has attempted to prevent the usual budget retreat for the entire council so that everyone's input can be considered. Instead, he wanted to meet one-on-one with the town manager and each council member regarding the budget. Would this be legal? Yes. But once again, it seems suspicious and not having the appearance of transparency. Also, regarding the budget, Mr. Harvey has promised a tax cut and has also vowed not to cut services, but has been evasive regarding what defines essential services. Please do better, Mr. Harvey. The citizens of Valdese need and deserve your integrity and respect. They need transparency.
Rick McClure.
Hi, my name is Rick McClure. I live at 408 Guru Avenue. One thing is revenue neutral is 41.5 or pretty close to it. If everybody went out the doors like I did before the election and knocked on all the doors that we knocked on, there's a lot of people that can't afford anything pretty much above 41.5. Another thing, if anybody wants to give more money in taxes, above 41.5, they sure are welcome to give the town a big check. And transparency is a thing that works on both sides. I was part of the WHO. I was proud of what we did. And transparency does work on both sides. We're, as far as I'm concerned, they've tried to be transparent as possible. And it's just a buzzword sometimes. We used it. We did, and proud of what we did. And we had a lot of people. We had close to 1,200 people vote this past time. Most of the time, it's been somewhere a little over 600, 650 votes. What that told me was we knocked on enough doors that got the interest of people to come out. They said, we don't want any, we want a lower tax rate. We lowered the tax rate. That's what we promised to do. And there's a lot of people in here that cannot afford much. They're already having trouble paying their water bill. So I think we need to look at maybe some ways that we can help some of these people financially somewhere along the line. I'm not sure how that would work. But we love and appreciate everybody we have in the town of Valdese. And I really wish we could do something for the people that are having problems. I don't know what that would be. Maybe some kind of a fund or something, but I don't know if it would be legal. But we need to look at that. And 41.5 is still a raise, and it's still over $100 and some $1,000 what it was in 2023. So we can do that, and we can do it with situations where we have money in the fund balance, the general fund. We have a lot of money there. We have more money in those balances than I'd say probably 75 or 80% of the towns in North Carolina. A lot of them don't have hardly anything. So some of that money can be used for certain things, and you can replenish it when things start getting straightened out. So I thank for your time, and hang in there.
Marky James.
Good afternoon, Town Council. My name is Marky James, and I'm the owner of Barkside Pet Grooming. We've been here for 4 years, open for 5 years. I quickly want to just say I'm here to discuss the possibility of expanding my small business. I will be taking on an operating partner, and her name is Brittany Buchanan. She is a teacher at Freedom High School. We both are very passionate about animals, pets. We have both been in pet industries for a very long time. She has been showing, breeding, and judging bloodhounds for over a decade, well over a decade. I've been grooming for over 15 years. I say this to say that we are wanting to expand and make a boarding, daycare, training, and grooming facility here in Valdese. We feel that that would be a big draw for people in this town, not only for the community, but we also want to try to host events, sporting events through the AKC, and that brings in a lot of tourism. The last event I went to had hundreds of dogs registered to participate. Things like barn hunt, fast cat, agility trials. And so we're trying to procure land for this possibility, and we want to bring all of this to this town. My operating partner has expressed the possibility of us moving from Valdese to another small town nearby, and I have been adamant about us staying here. So I'm saying all of this to just ask for your continued support and support in us procuring our land and moving forward with this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cole, ma'am.
How come all the tall people get here before me?
Yeah, what we need to do is move you to the top of the list.
You probably still can't hear me, but that's okay. Yeah. Well, I kind of had the budget in my in my mind too. I did notice that there is the budget retreat for council, I'm going to assume, because it's from 9 in the morning to 5 at night. And I am just curious if there's a time at which maybe they give a review to the public. If that's not planned at all, it would be nice, just like we have the meeting before the meeting and we get a lot of information. It would be nice to get some type of feedback on what comes out of that budget meeting. But that's up to you guys. But rather give up services in town, I think a couple people have said that, rather than give up services, I really would say that I would be willing to take a little less than going to 41% tax, right? If it meant I didn't have to give up the vital services that I think we have. I get concerned because I know there's inflation. So the comment was made revenue neutral earlier, and I guess that's about where my mind is thinking. Revenue neutral. If that allows us to go to 41 cents, I will rejoice. I will be honest. We actually own 2 properties in Valdese, and one is the one we live in, and one is the one we keep for our granddaughter and our 2 great-grandkids because they would not be able to afford housing for themselves. So doesn't mean we can afford that huge tax increase that came in. Means we found money somewhere, took money, borrowed money to pay that tax rate. So if it could come down, yes, it would be. I also know and feel that public safety building is a necessity. My personal feeling is build a new one, but the only reason it is because I think about the pool, and I think about the last 5 years that we extended the bubble, and we wasted that money. And I thought we were doing good, so I'm not picking on anybody. It was a good thought. Let's move that down the road, save the taxpayers some money. But in the end, it wasn't wise, because we would have had all that money we had saved, put on a new structure, if we'd have done it then. So in doing that one, I just say, let's think carefully, how long, if we repair what we've got, how long is that gonna do, at what cost, versus just giving our guys a completely new setup? I do think it needs to be cut down for what that big plan was, because I think that was a little spacious for a smaller town by us. But our firefighters and our policemen do deserve a facility that works for them to do their job, and that still falls within the affordable line of Valdese. That was basically all I was going to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, council, our next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there any items on the consent agenda that council wants removed? Hearing none, I'll take a motion that we approve the consent agenda as is.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Seeing no opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council. Okay, moving on to new business. Item A under number 7 is introduction of new employees, and David Anderson is going to be first. He was out front a minute ago. Well, he'll be second now. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, and our guest, Mark, come on up. I have the honor of introducing Mark Sharp to you as your new police chief. He has a vast amount of experience. He has a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from some university down in Columbia somewhere.
Seems like I've heard of them.
My daddy went there too, so I'm picking on Ken. But welcome aboard, sir, and let council know whatever you'd like to share with them.
Just like to say I'm honored. I'm honored to come on board, come back to my hometown, the place I was born, and be a part of things here to make our community better tomorrow than it is today. And that's what I'll continue to strive to do. I hope I can work with a partnership with all of you, our citizens, and my officers to provide you the services that you want and need. And again, thank you for that opportunity and look forward to it. Thank you.
It's good to have you. Welcome, Mark. Mr. Anderson.
Set my stuff down real quick. I've heard from the other room. I need to make sure I'm speaking into the microphone here. Mayor, council, pleasure to be with you all this evening, this beautiful, beautiful spring day. It's a pleasure to introduce to you all Mr. Chipper McGinnis, who is our new athletic supervisor, along with Jonathan Carter. He's been with us for a little bit of time already, and we've heard nothing but good things so far. So I'll turn it over to Chipper real quick.
Hey, yeah, my name's Chipper McGinnis. Been here since February 5th. It's been nothing but a warm welcome, reminds me of home. So I've just really enjoyed my time working with kids and recreation. So
It's good to have you.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, council, next item, item 7B, public hearing for CDBG water project, presented by Sherry Long. And after she reads her multiple pages of information, we'll go into a open session.
Thank you, Mayor, members of Town Council. Can you hear me in the back? All right. I will speak fast, but if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. This is a requirement of the Community Development Block Grant Program, and they require me to read this word for word. This public hearing that's on April 1st, 2024, will provide an explanation and description for the fiscal year 23-24 North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality DEQ Community Development Block Grant Infrastructure Grant, CDBGI. We are present to discuss the purpose of the public hearing for the town's CDBGI funding application. The purpose of the public hearing is to obtain citizens' views and to allow response from the public to funding proposals and answer any questions posed by citizens. This public hearing will cover the town's community development needs, development of the proposed activities, and a review of the program compliance before the submission of the town's CDBGI funding application to the state of North Carolina. The town proposes to request funding from North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality's CDBGI program for the Berrytown Waterline Project. The proposed project will meet the following community housing needs of the town by replacing aging undersized water lines, replacing water line service lines, and including fire hydrants and other apparatuses along the Berry Avenue, Berry School Avenue, Berrytown Street, Boss Johnson Avenue Extension, and C.V. Johnson Drive. The purpose of the CDBGI grant program is to improve the quality of life for low and moderate income people by providing a safe, clean environment and clean drinking water throughout the town, through the town's water and sewer infrastructure improvements and extensions of service. To benefit a resident in the area must be at least 51% of the beneficiaries are low and moderate income as defined by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. To perform eligible activities, to minimize displacement, and to provide displacement assistance if necessary. For the fiscal year 2023, the CDBGI funding available is expected to be $18 million. The maximum available grant amount is $3 million over a 3-year period. Applications for funding will be received by April 30th, 2024. End of the first page. The CDBG program is available to fund a wide variety of community development activities. The state of North Carolina has chosen to fund several activities: water and sewer infrastructure, neighborhood revitalization, COVID-19 related projects, and economic development for projects that lead to job creation or retention. The infrastructure program, or CDBGI program, can fund a range of water and sewer infrastructure activities, including but not limited to the following: water projects, projects that resolve water loss in distribution systems, projects that extend public water to areas with contaminated wells, projects that extend water lines to areas with dry wells, projects that assist with low pressure in public water systems, projects that are regionalized to or more systems, and projects that rehabilitate or replace a water treatment plant. Under wastewater, projects that resolve inflow and infiltration to system collections and surcharges from pump stations and manholes, projects that extend public sewer to areas with failed septic tanks, projects that rehabilitate a wastewater treatment plant to allow greater efficiency and compliance with regulations. The town is seeking an amount of CDBGI funding not to exceed $3 million for the Berrytown Waterline Project. The purpose of the town's request is to replace approximately 8,215 linear feet of aging and undersized water lines, repair service lines, and install fire hydrants along Berry School Avenue, Berrytown Avenue, Berrytown Street, Boss Johnson Avenue Extension, and C.V. Johnson Drive. The project will assist with low water pressure in the service areas. The project is proposed by the town was identified in the town's 10-year capital improvement plan, updated and adopted in September 2023. Informational community meetings were held for the project area to inform citizens of potential project and to get feedback from the residents. A total of 100% of the CDBGI funding will be used to benefit low and moderate income people. The project area in the town has been determined to have an income survey area of a low and moderate income rate of 70.262%. The project area includes homes along, and we can all say this together, Berry School Avenue, Berrytown Avenue, Berrytown Street, Boss Johnson Avenue Extension, and C.V. Johnson Drive. The range of activities covered by the CDBG funds for the Berrytown Waterline includes construction, environmental review, engineering design, construction administration and observation, legal activities, surveying, and grant administration. If the town is awarded the CDBGI grant, the town is required to adhere to all federal procurement requirements and other federal regulations, including the American with Disabilities Act, Section 504 survey, Davis-Bacon and Related Activities Acts, adoption and submission of a citizens participation plan, adoption and submission of an equal opportunity plan, adoption and submission of a fair housing plan, adoption and submission of a language access plan, adoption and submission of a relocation assistance plan, adoption and submission of a Section 3 plan, and an excess force provision in all contracts. The state of North Carolina requires that if the town receives the CDBG grant funding, that the town will certify that they will comply with the requirements and general displacement and relocation policy of the CDBG grant funding. This policy assists low and moderate income people with costs associated with relocation or displacement should the relocation become necessary due to the project activities. CDBGI funds can be used to cover those costs if necessary. If no displacement or relocation will occur as a result of the proposed CDBG grant funding, then the town confirms that during this public hearing, which we do not anticipate any relocation or displacement. In the past, the town has applied and received for the following CDBG projects: the Meridian Yard CDBG ED project, installed a generator, valve, and associated apparatuses at the Valdese Water Treatment Plant, and the Valdese CDBG NR scatter site project, where we rehabilitated 12 low and moderate income homes. The town will submit the CDBG application for the Berrytown Waterline project on April 30th, 2024. The CDBGI application will be available for review during normal business hours in the planning department at Town Hall. Additional information is available by asking Larry Johnson or calling him at 879-2124. Should you have any complaints or grievances regarding the subject public hearing, they should be addressed to the above-mentioned Larry Johnson within 15 business days or by April 22nd, 2024. A written response to the written complaints and/or grievances will be sent by the town within 15 business days where practicable. We now open the floor for comments and questions about the CDBG program and the proposed project.
Okay, hearing the completion of the presentation, I now declare the public meeting open. Public, let me get that right, or the other attorney's going to get me. The public hearing open, and here are the guidelines after the presentation. The rules for conducting the public hearing: those wishing to speak at the public hearing shall identify themselves by their name and address. Those opposing the proposed action will be allowed 5 minutes. Those supporting the proposed action will be allowed 5 minutes each for presentations. The public hearing is open, and those that are speaking in opposition may now approach the podium. Okay, seeing none. Those supporting the proposition may now approach the podium. They're going to make it easy. Okay. Seeing none to speak, I declare the public hearing closed. Council, I'll now ask for a motion to approve the CDBG water project for the Berrytown community as presented by Ms. Long.
I make a motion that we approve the CDBC water project for the Berrytown community as presented by Ms. Long.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council. That's a good project. The next item, C, is authorizing the resolution to submit an application for the CDBG funding for a Berrytown water project. Council, I'll request a motion to approve the resolution to submit the application for the CDBG funding for Berrytown water project.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to approve the resolution to submit an application for the funding for the Berrytown water project.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Sherry. Okay, council, next item, D, consideration of request for qualifications, RFQ for Hoyle Creek, presented by Mr. Anderson.
All right, again, good evening, everybody. Before you this evening to discuss the authorization for requesting qualifications for the Hoyle Creek project. In your agenda packet, you all had a copy of the RFQ that we were hoping to submit for interested firms and parties to respond to. If you'll recall, this is for the project to provide some stream restoration along Hoyle Creek, as well as a side path along Lake Road His Drive.
Okay, council, any questions? Okay, I'll take a motion to, authorize the request for qualifications for the Hoyle Creek project.
I make a motion that we authorize the request for qualifications for the Whole Creek project.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Item 7E, reports from committee. Parks and Recs. Mr. Compton, sir.
Just the, the button on the top. It's been a while since I've worked a mouse, so bear with me. Good evening, members of the council. Mr. Mayor, appreciate the opportunity for us to present to you tonight. My name is Scott Compton. I am the acting chairman of the Parks and Recreation Commission here in the town of Valdese. Wanted to give you an update on some of our activities over the course of the last 2 months and 2 new recommendations that we bring before you that we hope that you will strongly consider. As I mentioned in last week's meeting, we had a specially called meeting amongst commission members on March 11th. The objective was to prepare and provide requests and recommendations for town council. We had 4 of our 6 members present at the time, which allowed for a quorum. We had Councilman Ogle was present, as well as was Director Anderson, who are present, and non-voting members. We discussed many funding options that we have recently discovered that may assist with the purchase of a new pool housing structure. And then we discussed different types of structures that we had visited. Once again, as I mentioned last week, I personally traveled to 3 locations. David traveled to 4. Councilman Ogle was visited at least 1, some other members as well. Wanted to get an idea of the type of structures that were readily available for a town our size. We have 2 recommendations to present to you tonight. Number 1, the town seeks, we recommend that the town seek the Accessible Parks Grant to offset cost of the pool structure. The second recommendation is that the town install a fixed aluminum frame structure with removable sides. Okay. Recommendation 1. We ask that the town seek the Accessible Parks Grant to offset the total cost of the operation of the pool. This grant, if awarded, will be up to $500,000 along with a $100,000 match from the town of Valdese. The grant will, in addition to assisting with the pool construction, its primary purpose will be to increase access to the community center for the amenities. In particular, we're looking at building a ramp access that does not currently exist to the tennis courts from the existing pool deck. And then we also are looking for a ramp access to be constructed in front of the gym, along with a semi-automatic door to the lobby. To be installed. Many of you may know at this time, wheelchair-bound residents, in order to enter the Parks and Rec, the rec center, they must enter through the back door in the lobby. So this will be a much more dignified entrance for these citizens. The remaining funds, after those projects are covered, would be assigned to the cost of the pool structure, including design fees. The local governing body must pass a motion in support of this project as part of the application. So we have begun writing this grant application. It is due on May 1st, but we are not allowed to submit without board's recommendation to submit a motion to do so. And so we are presenting this to you this month at this month's town council meeting because we need permission prior to the May 1st deadline date. Recommendation 2, the town should install a fixed aluminum frame structure with removable sides to meet the needs of year-round pool access. As I said before, we visited several structures in Charlotte, Raleigh, and Greenville, South Carolina. The facility operators at each of these structures, that are currently using these structures, are very satisfied with the structural function and integrity of the design. And I was pleased to hear that coming from every location that we visited. This particular design provides the versatility needed to meet the programming requests of our patrons, as well as providing opportunities for additional programming in the future, particularly so that we may potentially host a Special Olympics location site in the near future. The design will allow us to keep the pool open year-round with features of removable sides and radiant heating. The facility will allow us to continue to serve schools, aquasize classes, provide swim lessons without interruptions, and meet the needs of competition programs that are hosted currently on site, such as Masters, Excel Aquatics, and the Special Olympics. The facility operators will be able to remove, these are the facility operators here in Valdese, will be able to remove the side panels during the summer months. And we have some pictures that we'll be showing in a couple slides so that you have a better idea of what we are referring to. Provide access to an increased deck space that meets patron requests for both shade and sunlight. I think it's important to note that this facility is not fully removable each summer. The only removable sections will be the side panels, which will allow open airflow, but we will still have a canopy covering over top of the pool that will provide much-needed shaded deck space. It will also assist with the reduction of chemical costs, as it's easier to maintain a desired water temperature, as less UV exposure will minimize chlorine loss. We will also likely see fewer heat-related illnesses in the summer, which seems to be an issue at our pool, of children getting overheated, and, well, adults as well, getting overheated, getting sick, that sort of thing, with a lack of shaded space at the pool. We believe this design will present minimal construction disruption to the programming. The structure is engineered to meet and exceed the required wind and snow loads of up to 15 pounds of snow and 115 miles per hour winds. The structure is made with architectural fabric over an aluminum frame with stainless steel hardware, which are materials ideal for aquatic environment. The side panels come with a 7-year warranty, but evidence shows that they have much longer lifespans of somewhere around 10 to 15 years is what we were seeing from the facilities that we visited. The roof membrane, which is the permanent section of the structure, comes with a 15-year warranty and is an estimated 20 to 25-year lifespan, which more than doubles a potential bubble lifespan of 10 years. This is on par with other commercial roofing systems. As of March 26, 2024, the manufacturer is estimating the cost to the town for this construction project at $559,020 or $42 per square foot. Okay. This does not include site prep work and design by the architect. The structure remains an economically feasible option. It is not significantly more expensive than a bubble. The operating cost will be the monthly operating cost will be lower because we will not be continuously flowing air into the system. But then it's nowhere near the top of the line designs that we're seeing, which are retractable roofs. Personally, I really enjoyed the retractable roof. I felt like I was playing for the Atlanta Braves when we were in there. Yeah, it's a nice structure, but at this point in time, it's probably not economically feasible for a town our size. Hopefully, as the materials become cheaper and the engineering becomes better in 20, 30 years, when we approach this process again, that would be something we might want to look towards. There's currently no estimate on site preparation costs yet, as design services are required to finalize these construction costs. The RFQ responses for the design service were due this past Thursday, March 28th. We received several responses and will begin reviewing and interviewing the candidates in April. Okay, so let's take a look at the design here. We have pictures. I think these are from 3 different facilities. But you can take, is it 3? Okay, good. So anyway, for the people in the audience, you can take a look. This first facility is Silverton, Raleigh, is managed by the Raleigh Swim Association. The Silverton location, you can see the canopy top there as well as the exterior sides. And then in the bottom lower corner, you'll see a picture that was taken at nighttime from the outside looking in to give you an idea of the quality of lighting that is set up inside one of these locations. Once again, this is a fixed aluminum structure, so it has a framework, a skeletal framework that is fixed aluminum. It is rust resistant, and then it has the cloth canopies that cover the top. They are very taut, strong enough that we were told that when workers at one site that takes the building down and reinstalls it every year, they say that once it's installed, the workers will walk across the top of that canopy structure. On that exterior daytime shot, you'll see this particular site has clear panels. There are also opaque panels available that provide some level of privacy. It would be up to the decision of the Parks and Rec team, but perhaps if we wanted that on the side of the parking lot, opaque panels are also available. This is another unit that we saw in Charlotte. You can see that it was below a clubhouse, and so we got a nice view of the top to give you an idea of what it looks like from the top down. Once again, clear panels on one side. This one had opaque panels on the other. Important note, you can see the footing space there. That plate, it's an aluminum plate, stainless steel nuts and bolts, right? But yeah, the footprint of each foundational post is significantly smaller than what we see at the current bubble, so there's less obstruction to the pool deck. And then you can see a nice exterior view of that one as we walked up to it. Final slide then here, this is another facility that we saw in Raleigh. This is in the Cary area. I can't remember the name. Raleigh Swim Association also manages this one as well. This was the oldest one that we had seen, which was good because I think it's about 11 years old, and so we could kind of gauge how it looks as far as aging. The reality is, it looks pretty nice. There's no mold up top whatsoever. You can see the panels on the side there, particularly on this picture on the left-hand side. There's the two clear panels on the left are new ones that have been replaced in the recent year, and I guess you would have to really, if you have a good opportunity to take a look on the screen there, you'll see it in comparison to the panels that are 10 years old. You can kind of see where film is sort of built up, so you can see the aging process that works on a facility like this. I also want to point your attention to the radiant heaters up above the deck. I love these radiant. Personally, I really think that's a great system. It does not push heat, so there's no airflow per se. When you jump out of the pool, you don't get a cold chill. Instead, it's above a radiant heat at the ends of each pool, and it certainly does a great job of keeping the facility warm into winter. One thing I also want to note that I skipped in my slides is be aware that these side panels, they can be added and removed at each season, or if we have an early summer or late fall, that sort of thing, we can tie them up and fasten those. And so we have many purposes that can be used for this particular structure. So once again, this is our recommendation. We think that this is probably the most appropriate facility that will meet the needs of our Parks and Recreation Department, and that will end my presentation.
Thank you, sir. Are you looking for action on this tonight? Okay. Thank you for doing your due diligence.
Thank you.
Very impressive.
We have to vote on the grant, though, don't we?
That's what I was asking. Is that need
Oh,
to be?
okay.
Yeah, we have to vote on the grant.
So you want a motion to?
Yeah, we would like a motion
Grant.
that we approve
Okay.
the grant application.
Okay, council, I'll take a motion that we support the grant application for the Parks and Recreation grants.
I'd like to make a motion, we support the Parks and Recreation for their grant act.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Questions? Discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next is a committee report from the Drug and Homeless Task Force. Councilwoman Ward.
All right, I'm gonna pull up my notes for this. So the Drug and Homeless Task Force, we had our first meeting on March 26th, that was last Tuesday. As a committee, and this was included in your packet or the agenda packet, we would like to recommend that we amend the current resolution. This will not be done tonight, but just so it's in everyone's mind, we would like to amend the current resolution that stated we could only have 5 on our ad hoc committee. We would like to make it to where it says a minimum of 5. It's a little more, it's a little bit more multifaceted than some of the other things. We have need of someone who has counseling credentials. It would be great to have someone who could, give us some direction as far as how to get jobs for folks who are displaced, how to find housing, how to know if people are really wanting to get help. So a behavioral specialist is what we're looking for. So we'd like to do that, and we'd also like to provide a space on that committee for our new police chief, Chief Sharp. I think he would be a great part of our team. We need that expertise definitely if we're going to be working with our police department. We already have Sergeant Beck on there, and that leads me to my next point. We are working on creating more community watch groups. That is something that has been something that Sergeant Beck has worked with our neighborhood with citizens already, like Will and Rose Mueller. They have done a tremendous job watching our neighborhoods, and they make it easier. It's more streamlined. There's a lot of things we learned about how we streamline the processes of making sure that our police department knows what's happening in our neighborhood. So the community watches are going to be a great part of that. Pastor Josh Lale is a committee member, and he is working to pull the local churches together. I know they already do a lot as far as having an alliance to help with different needs in the community. I think that is tremendous. So we're going to make sure all the churches have the information for their programs turned over to the police department or whoever needs it, to make sure, you know, if someone has an incident happen where they become suddenly homeless, do we have the resources for them? Do we have a place that they can go and receive the resources they need? If there is someone who is wanting to get back on their feet, because we know that not everyone does. And I also, if there is anyone who knows that the government is never going to be the answer to every problem we have, it is Heather Ward. I do not expect us to solve all the problems, but I do know that people coming together and working together solves a great many issues. And especially our faith-based community, we have always been willing to jump in there and get the job done. So the churches pulling together and working together is going to be key in our efforts. We are looking to pull information together. This is something that Chief Sharp and others are looking at right now, making sure that folks know about our AA and NA programs. If you don't know what that is, it's Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, so people know where they can get help in our town, making that more visible to people, because there are people in need in our community, and we want to make sure that when they're ready to step into a sober life, they have the resources they need to do that. And I love what our new chief says about, you know, we're just working to make a better Valdese, I don't even know, I can't say it. So it's where you were saying about making Valdese even better than it is today for tomorrow. That's what I love. I love the spirit that we have right now. Our committee is just, you know, ready to see the lives of everyone made better. So that's it for me.
I think you've already done this, but have you talked to COG and their homeless?
Oh, yes, that was the other thing,
A very
yes.
good
We
resource.
have spoken to COG. I've spoken to Ms. Hauk. She is actually going to be reaching out to us. She wanted to make sure our committee was ready to go. So after the next meeting, when we have everybody lined up in places, then we will be setting up a meeting with COG, an open meeting, to where everybody the community can get together and see what plans we have, so.
Council, any questions for Councilwoman Ward?
One question, is there any action that we can or should take tonight to raise the minimum number of members of that task
Well,
force?
we have to have a resolution from the attorney, and we don't have that.
We need a resolution from the attorney, so that would be at another meeting, not tonight.
May 1st, or the May council meeting, most likely. Okay, any more questions? Okay, next item, F, tax collection update, Mr. Wyckoff.
Good evening. So, just, I guess an update what we talked about last time. Through the month of February, we've collected the county's collected $2.64 million in taxes. They're doing a phenomenal job for us. In fact, they've collected all the taxes they billed except for 1.85%. So they're closing in on that 98.5% collection rate that they achieved last year. So I think they're going to get there this year as well. Because of the timing of the budget process and the billing of taxes in July, if you recall, they ended up billing more than $208 $218,000 more than we had projected in the budget for tax collections. We did balance the budget with $238,000 the same year, so that was a little bit of a wash, or as Councilman Harvey mentioned last time, that can be put towards the Rock School renovations, which town contributed about $215,000, I think, to that. So either way, we're getting a little extra revenue, however we allocate it, so.
Questions, council?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce a motion. I move that the $407,000 being set aside each year for the public safety building account and related debt instead be allocated to street repaving in fiscal 24-25.
Councilman Harvey, I believe that we...
I'm sorry, we're going to ask for a second?
No, not yet. I believe we have to wait until the budget to approve that, and Mr. Weichler, the manager, may direct me in the right direction.
Well, I don't understand why we would do that. Attorney, could you, is there any
Yeah.
reason we can't like that?
Budget resolution needs to come before this, it has to be properly prepared before the meeting. And so it would need to say what fund the monies were coming from, and it would have to already show that those funds were appropriated in the budget. So you don't just off the cuff come up with a budget amendment. They could take your suggestion and have discuss with you your thoughts on that and propose something for the next meeting if the funds were in the budget to do that.
Well, the proposal that I submitted to the council 10 days before this agenda, when I asked it to be included in the agenda packet, included the information that the town provided in past years, and including for this year, where the $407,000, there's about 6 or 7 items that the council has set aside, and it was a good thing. The staff and the council in the past few years since 2019 has set this aside each year and allocated it for the public safety building. And that was, that's been announced each year, and it was announced again in this fiscal year that would be, that $407,000 would be available each year for the debt service. All I'm suggesting with this motion is that we, instead of allocating it for debt service in this fiscal year, that we allocate it for street repaving.
Okay, the existing fiscal year.
I'm sorry?
The existing fiscal year that we're currently in, is that the $407,000 you're talking about, or after July?
No, I'm talking about the $407,000 that the council has stated each year, including this past year, said this $407,000 is available for debt service on the $7.2 million debt.
Okay.
In future years.
Right.
That $7.2 million debt has been canceled, and we still have this public safety building account number 35, which has just about $1.5 million sitting in it, and all the information that the town has put out up until 5 months ago was that this $407,000 is being set aside each year, and it will be for the next 30-some years to cover the debt. All I'm suggesting with this motion is that instead of setting that aside in 24-25 for debt service, that we allocate it to street repaving in 24-25. And I think, to me, that is not really any different than the unanimous action that the council took at the last meeting to set the tax rate for 41.5 cents. I mean, that was a budget guideline that was unanimously voted on by the council. So I think this is just another very closely related step to that.
Right, well, you can't adopt a budget amendment without a written amendment being a part of the agenda materials. so that's why I said you could take that into consideration if that's what you
I
want to
think
do.
it was part of these agenda materials.
I don't see a budget amendment, a written budget amendment in here.
Well, this proposal was in there.
I think we're talking about the next year's budget, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we haven't had a budget hearing yet to,
Right, so then in June, you have your budget hearing.
Right.
So you could request that staff make that amendment, and so then when it comes, when the budget hearing is presented, that be a part of the, proposed budget.
Well, we can deal with it. We can talk about it. We have a budget workshop coming up on the 15th and 16th, and then we have a public hearing on the budget on April 22nd. So,
I'm not against that idea, but I want to make sure we do it correctly.
Right, so
Okay.
I hear your suggestion, and I think staff has too, and so if, they want to make that accommodation and change, and then when the proposed budget comes forward, it has that amendment in it, and then that's what you're having your public hearing on.
all right. Could I then just take about 3 or 4 minutes and explain why? We're going to come back to this at the next meeting. All right. My comment on this is that given the condition of so many miles of the town street, given the condition of them, and repaving cost that's been running about $300,000 per mile, and the high priority that citizens put on street repaving, and one of the top 4 was to continue the repaving plan that was started in 2023. So we have, with the public safety building, about $1.5 million sitting there, and this $407,000, which the town has been setting aside each year for the public safety building, will not be needed for the public safety building in fiscal year 24-25. So in looking ahead to the motion, to the proper meeting when we can make this motion, by reallocating those funds, it would avoid placing an unnecessary tax burden on Valdese property owners as follows. And I have 9 points. I wish I had 10, but there's probably a 10th one, but I have 9. 1 year ago, Burke County did a county-wide reassessment that raised the assessed value of Valdese residences by an average of over 43%. In June 2023, the council adopted an ad valorem tax rate of 51.5 cents, which was 24% higher than the state mandated calculation of 41.5 cents, creating severe hardship on hundreds of Valdese owners of smaller, older homes. And I personally visited hundreds of those people. I heard some sad stories about people who lost their car, were going to have to go on a payment plan to pay their taxes. On March 4th, last meeting, this council unanimously set 2024 tax rate at 41.5 cents. The good news that Mr. Walker has confirmed is that citizens who do not need the tax reduction can contribute the amount of any reduction or any amount to the town in a check, and they'll get a letter of acknowledgement that they can discuss with their tax advisor. And you can designate those funds for street repaving, or for the Old Rock School renovation, or for the pool enclosure, whatever you wish. So the people on the west side of town who have smaller, older homes that are valued, assessed at 70, 80,000, some of them doubled in the past year. Some of them saw their taxes go up 150%, 200%. The people on the east side of town who live in large homes out along Laurel Street, Springwood, in the lake communities where homes are going for upwards of $1 million, it would be great if they would donate any tax reduction to the town. As I mentioned, it's great that the town management and the council the past few years have been setting aside $407,000, which they saved out of a number of steps. In 2019, the countywide reassessment kicked up tax revenue $100,000. That's a piece of that $407,000. That account now stands at $1.5 million, almost within a few dollars. due to 4 factors. One factor was this annual $407,000 that citizens have been setting aside from their taxes each year. The town received $500,000 from the state of North Carolina to be used on the public safety building. The old mill that was given to the town, the old Pine Burr Mill, was sold for $120,000. That's in this account. And then in December, the council terminated an architectural contract saving at least $225,000 that was going to come out of that $1.5 million fund this year. About 5 weeks ago, and here's some good news, possibly. About 5 weeks ago, Councilman Mears, Manager Steen, and I met with the Speaker of the North Carolina House, Tim Moore, and as a result of that meeting, he told us about SCIF funding grants, which is a program the state started in 2017. As a result, Representative Hugh Blackwell is, at this very month, pursuing an active request for public safety building funding with the state legislature. There's a low probability that we'll get some funding when they have their short session the week of April 22nd. There's a higher probability that we'll get some funding after the first of the year when they go into their long session. But until about a year from now, we're not going to know how much state funding may or may not be available to us. And then it's going to be about a year before the town will be in a position to start entering into contracts for whatever alternative solutions we come up with the public safety building. And to continue the paving plan that was started in 2023 would require about $400,000. And it would be an unnecessary burden to put that $400,000 on taxpayers. And I'd be happy to take you across town to some of the dozens of doors I knocked on to meet some of those taxpayers who would tell you that it would be unfortunate to place that unnecessary burden on them if we have $407,000 that we're setting aside each year for the public safety building that we're not going to need in fiscal year 24, 25. So that's the background. That's a lot of numbers. I'll make those numbers available to the town clerk, and they'll be part of the minutes. But the town has the resources to do paving without raising taxes. And again, for everybody who thinks they need a tax reduction in 2024, this council unanimously adopted that guideline last month. For everybody who does not need that, the address, post office box address, you can send your check there, right? And you'll get a letter, you'll send them a letter of acknowledgement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you can make the contribution to the whole structure, the Old Rock School, public safety building, whatever you'd like. Thank you.
I have a question, and I'm with you on the payment, okay? But my question is, explain to me why we won't need any money on the public safety building during the year 2024-25.
We may need some money during 24, 25, but we were sitting on a fund of $1.5 million for the public safety building. And there's no way that we can go through, we're just now reviewing architectural proposals. There's no way that we can get an architectural firm hired, get a design and development and plans done for whatever solution. I mean, we'll be back to this Facilities Review Committee, we'll be back to the council another time or two over the next 2 or 3 months with alternatives that are being considered. So we're quite a ways off from even setting an architect off on starting design and development. And as we saw in the past, it took from September 2020 until February 2022 to get design and development done. time from March of 2022 till December of 2023, we got nothing done. So we think construction will go a lot faster this time. I mean, this Facilities Review Committee is 5 people who have had deep construction and facilities management experience. Nobody on that committee thinks that this is going to drag out for years. We're determined that we're going to get a solution pretty quickly, but there's a few steps involved. And if there's a step or two, we're going to have to hire an architect somewhere during this year. But the $1.5 million that we're sitting on will be ample to cover that. And the one thing that we need to remember is when we talk about tax increases. Last year, the council adopted a 51.5-cent tax rate to raise $400,000. That was a 50% miscalculation. The taxes came in at over $600,000. So that's a story that I don't want to have to go back and talk to some of these people who told me about losing their car because of the taxes, their taxes doubling last year. We don't need to tax people again this year to pay this year when we've got $407,000 sitting here. And hopefully at this budget workshop, we'll hear the staff confirm that, so we don't have to have a special motion on it.
Okay.
I just wanted to state that, you know, we did have an engineer conduct a study, several years ago, year and a half ago. We've identified roughly 23 streets that were in very poor conditions, so there's a great need. I'm glad that the council recognizes the need. The citizen input that we received in our strategy sessions. We really do believe that we need to focus on paving streets. So I'm not opposed to making sure that this upcoming fiscal year we direct those funds to do street paving, because we know there's some streets that definitely need that. And I think we need to continue this. Council needs to continue the paving project until these streets are repaved. The citizens have identified this as a very high priority. So,
Agreed. Anybody else? Councilman Harvey, if you would you withdraw your last motion, please, so we can remove that from the...
Do I need to withdraw? It wasn't seconded, so I'll withdraw.
Okay.
I'll save it.
Is that?
It'll come back.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, council, next item, item G, consideration of approving a resolution authorizing the upset bid process for the sale of town-owned property located at 104 Roller Street Southwest. If y'all recall, that's right there behind the Dollar General store, where some folks in here will remember where the old ice plant was at. Mr. Weichel, sir.
All right, so yes, we've got an offer from Bartobia Stay and Play Pet Resort and Day Camp. Offers $35,000 for this property. If council decides to go with the upset bid process, it'll be advertised for 10 days for anyone to come and upset that. And then if they do, then it would just follow that process along the way until no one ends up upsetting that after 10 days. So this will get the process kick-started. So it's not an agreement to sell it, it's just an agreement to start the upset bid process.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make the motion that we accept this offer, that we undertake the upset bidding process, we get it going, and I'd like to include in that motion that the proceeds be allocated to the account 35 public safety building account, if that's appropriate. Would that be appropriate?
No, sir. It's appropriate to start the upset bid process, but then reallocating funds or changing a budget item, we're back to the same discussion that we had before. Yeah.
All right, and before that, I move that we proceed with we accept this offer, that we proceed with the upset bid process on that particular property.
Okay.
I'll second.
Very good. Questions?
Just a comment about it, if I may. The council has, we've been a learning council. We're all new council members within 2 years, 3 of us in 5 months. We're getting pretty good about informing each other about items that are coming up on the agenda. I would just ask the town manager that when the staff brings items to the agenda, like they put on last week's agenda, they also inform the council ahead of time what this is all about. That one hit us cold last week, and I mean, I did a quick search on BurkeGIS. The information on BurkeGIS, surprisingly, is incorrect. So, but at any rate, what we're doing here is exactly what I think we need to be doing. We're getting property parcels. The town owns a lot of parcels, and when the town owns them, they're off the tax roll. They're getting no income at all. So, if we can sell these parcels to anyone for any purpose, it gets them back on the tax roll. And as a dog lover, nothing I'd love more than to see the purpose that's been described for this one.
I would like to say that I'm excited that we have current owners of the Barkside Pet Grooming that want to expand their business. I think that is exciting for Valdese, and that also goes to our strategic plan with economic development. So I'm excited with your business expanding.
Anyone else?
I think Mr. Steen, our interim town manager, recently identified some additional properties, to your comment, Councilman Harvey, that the town might consider even selling. So I think that's definitely a source of revenue for us, just sitting there unused. So I too am excited about this potential project. So I think this is great for our town.
Anyone else? I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council.
So I will-
Budget amendments, sir.
Well, we'll go backtrack to properties, so
Okay.
just to give council a heads up then, in May, at the May meeting, we're gonna have 3 more offers
Okay.
for separate parcels. So 3 separate parcels will be requesting for the upset bid process.
Okay. Budget amendments.
Bo, Mr. Mayor, before Bo gets to this, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Bo, is there a fund that exists that does assist for property taxes, that assists the disabled veterans, that they can apply to have some of their taxes be reduced or partially paid? Is that, you know the name of that fund? Does it still exist? I think it did at one time.
No,
Last time I heard, this has come up before and it's illegal to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
State statute allows the county to have something in place for that.
That was my question. So it's not a city,
Right.
town fund, it's a county fund.
Yeah, it's a statute that the county has to follow as far as exemptions for veterans or elderly. So,
And do we notify our citizens? I think it's important to let them know that does
Yeah,
exist.
it's on the tax numbers.
yeah, the county notifies them.
Yeah. We looked at assisting folks with their water bills, and that was illegal also. And the mayor's not going to jail, so.
Now, I would say there are nonprofits. I know there are in Caldwell County, so I would assume there also is in
Yes.
Burke County. And so if folks are interested, you can give your funds to those nonprofits, and the nonprofits then do have on their plan of action that's one of the, and they're actually better able to assist, because then they can actually qualify those folks, and you don't want to be in the business of looking at people's individual financial situations, so that way a nonprofit can properly do that, and then those funds can be directed to those people to help with those things.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay. Budget amendments.
All right, budget amendment 12-10.
Yeah, we did.
12-10 is amendment for recreation concession sales. So this is not coming out of fund balance, but what it's doing is increasing the revenue on the sales side, and then the expenditure side would be more supplies because we're selling more than we had anticipated for this fiscal year.
Okay. Questions, council? Those in favor of approving,
Gotta make a motion.
yeah, budget amendment 31. A motion and a second, please.
Second.
Okay? And
I'll make the motion, okay?
we're getting ahead.
I'll make the motion, yes.
Paul
that
seconded.
we, yeah.
I've already seconded it, right?
Okay, you've
We're
already
good.
seconded, okay. Recreation concession sales.
We hadn't voted yet.
Yeah.
Those in favor of approving this budget amendment as presented signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's see if we can get through the second one.
All right, 13-10, this amends the budget coming out of fund balance to cover attorney fees because of the more usage of the attorney services than we had planned.
Okay, council? And now you're not going to talk at all. I need a motion, please. Folks, I need a motion to approve this budget amendment. The attorney's going to quit writing if we don't do a motion. Direction, ma'am.
If you don't make a motion, you can carry it over to the next agenda and
Okay.
maybe have more discussion about the purpose if there's a.
Will that work for you?
We have one more month of payments that we
Okay.
can make, and then
Then we will move this item over to the May agenda. Thank you. Thank you, Bo. Okay, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. You have 6 items on the interim manager's report. Number 1, annual budget retreat is scheduled for April 15th and 16th, 2024, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Folks, let's keep it down, please. I'm sorry. Sorry. Continue, please.
At the council chambers in Valdese Town Hall. Item B, council meeting. Council budget review scheduled Monday, April 22nd, 2024, 6 p.m. Council chambers, Valdese Town Hall. Item C, OCP production, Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville. Show dates, April 25th, 26th, 27th, and May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Item D, Spring Craft Market, Saturday, April 27th, 2024, ORS Temple Field, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Item E, next agenda review council meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 29th, 2024, 6 p.m. council chambers. And item F, next regular council meeting scheduled for Monday, May 6th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in council chambers. That concludes your interim manager's report.
Okay. Council, and we can start down here on this end and move this way.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a comment regarding some of our citizen-directed committees, the good work that's being done tonight, specifically the Valdese Parks and Recreation Commission. Just grateful for the hard work they are doing. We know that we all want, and I think the council, everyone, it's unanimous, we want to see a permanent structure over the pool before the winter time, and I'm grateful for just the hard work, the busyness that's been involved, the effectiveness of this committee and the other committees. I just wanted to state that. We very much appreciate their hard work.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Go Wolfpack.
Okay.
Well, Paul, you're right. Those Recreation Commission folks have worked real hard. David, appreciate your leadership on that. Also, Scott, he's worked real hard also, as has the whole committee. As we visit these structures, Charlie asked me there just a minute ago, you like that? I said, yeah, I like that. I think it'd be a great asset for the town of Valdese.
Thank you. And I concur with Paul. I'm very appreciative of our citizens' involvement. The strategic plan is going to be very beneficial for us. It serves council as a guideline as to what the citizens want. And actually, they were pretty sharp because those 4 hot topics are exactly what we need to address and what we've actually tried to work on. You want to say anything, ma'am? I'll let you.
Well, it was a pleasure being here this evening, and
It's a pleasure having you. Thank you.
Good luck.
I don't think I'm going to jail when we get out. Councilman Harder?
I just want to compliment Scott Compton on a great presentation. echo everything that Councilman Mears said and Councilwoman Ward amen to. I hope you all come out to the budget workshops on the 15th and 16th. And most of all, if you've got suggestions on how to help the town live within its budget restraints, please make your suggestions on how to cut expenses, how to raise revenue, and give them to your ward representative. And I think there will not be public comments at the workshop on the 15th and 16th, but if you make your thoughts, your wishes, your questions known to council members, we'll try to make them known to the staff when we talk with them.
I'd like to say thank you to the committees as well, and also a big welcome to Chief Mark Sharp. We're glad to have you in Valdese as our police chief.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further?
One thing, will our budget hearings be broadcast?
No.
They will
I don't
not
think
be.
so.
Okay. I wasn't sure if people wanted to get on and look at that, and if they were but they will not be broadcast.
I don't think so. They will be held in the council chambers. And again, we're trying to work on our challenges with the internet broadcast. Hopefully, we can get those fixed very soon. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second? So be it. Thank you, council.